All right, folks, welcome in. Dogs pull off a highly contested one this evening, man. Just an absolute brawl in Athens, and Georgia comes out on top over the Missouri Tigers. Rusty Mansell here with you, Dogs HQ in the house. Rusty, just take us back, man. You were there, you were on the sideline. It was a tense one on TV, man. Was it that way in the stadium as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Physical game, and Missouri kept, kind of answering. And the one thing I'll tell you is this running back, I think he had 120 plus on Georgia, and that stretch play, they just kept getting the edge, and they almost 5 and 6 yarded Georgia to death, but they found a way. And I don't know if Nazir Stackhouse has ran 45 yards in his life, but he just did today, and that was a hell of a play at the end of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Nazir Stackhouse, man, what an absolute show for him. That's what he will not be forgetting anytime soon.
Oh, dude.
He's probably on the oxygen right now, if I were guessing. Carson Beck, 21 to 32 on the day, 254, 2 touchdowns, 66% on the day. A bit of a mixed bag at times, was under duress a lot more than we've seen, especially. Missouri had drawn up some great blitzes for Carson Beck today.
Yeah, you look at Missouri, and I kind of mentioned this week Blake Baker. Knowing Blake Baker, he's that's a guy that's very familiar with SEC. He and Glenn Schumann are really good friends off the field, and he has brought heat. Every week he has played. We felt like he was going to try to pressure Carson Beck, and Carson Beck hurt Missouri a couple times on some, with his legs and ability to convert third downs. He did one late in the game there as well. So yeah, he had some throws I know he probably wishes he had back. Held on the ball a couple times, but man, he had a couple drops today too. Now he hit some guys. He hit Ra Thomas on a little skinny post there late in the fourth quarter that was unable to convert. So you look at Carson Beck, I think he got better as the day went on. And look, you start checking boxes, Jake. I mean, this is another game where he faced pressure. You could feel it, kind of getting tense, man, in this building. And Carson Beck with a big drive to end this thing.
Yeah, Georgia's defense, man, kind of up and down performance from those guys today. Brady Cook doing some really nice things. Obviously, Luther.
I'm going to tell you something, dude. In person, Brady Cook can roll.
Yeah,
I'm telling you right now, that kid can roll in person.
Yeah, Luther Burden, Theo Weiss, Mookie Cooper. We knew this coming into this game that it was going to be a highly contested one in that passing game because of what the Tigers were able to do. Georgia, kind of an up and down performance in that regard.
Yeah, you look at that, and they just stress you, man. They stress you because you got an extra defender with Brady Cook because he can run the ball every single play, so you have to account for him. And you saw Georgia. We talked about this week. What was Georgia going to do? What were they going to do on a third down package? We weren't sure. And today, for the first time the entire year, you see who they inserted was Raylan Wilson, who may be the fastest linebacker in the room. He's the youngest one, but he might be the fastest linebacker they got. And that's the first time they've played Raylan Wilson. I think he played 9 snaps on that third down package, made a great play on a run stop. So you see Georgia inserting something because of Brady Cook. A couple times he broke contain, but you see number 5, and then what Georgia's going to face next week, Jackson Dart can run too. So I don't think you've seen the last of Raylan Wilson.
Yeah, no, definitely not. Javon Bullard, I thought, had a really nice day. 6 total tackles. Obviously, that key interception to end the thing, probably more on Brady Cook than what anything Javon Bullard.
He's trying to make a play there, but that's what you do. Bullard goes out and makes him pay for it.
Jalen Walker shows up again on the line, man. 1.5 sacks on the day. This kid's turning into a shark with this defensive line, man.
I tell you what, when they put 35 and 11 in, so you got Damon Wilson, that's a 5-star. We talk about him getting, kind of inserting him after this bye week, and you look at Jalen Walker, those two guys coming off the edge, when they can pin their ears back and come, that's hard for any offensive lineman. And I watched that second one. He flushed him to Jalen Walker. Damon Wilson actually was the one that caused him to step up in the pocket, and he flushed him right to Jalen Walker. So if you're Georgia, that's exactly what you want, your 2 edge guys to be able to converge and get a sack.
Michael Lowry over here makes the question on Dalen Everett. I could understand where that was coming from. It was kind of an up and down day for him. But Julian Humphrey, I thought, in relief, showed some really nice things in this performance.
Yeah, man, and it's just invaluable getting those guys. And I know Dalen Everett's working hard. There's a couple. You see, teams are coming after him. You're not going to mess with number 3, and teams have got the respect for Laster. So when you look at Dalen Everett, that's just one of those things you keep working on. He's got length, speed. Just got to work on his ball skills a little bit, and you can bet next week that Ole Miss And then again with Tennessee, the way they stress you passing the ball, they're going to go at Dalen Everett. But I thought Georgia did a great job on Luther Burden. I mean, that play he made for a touchdown, that's just the NFL first rounder making a play. It's going to happen. But I thought Kamari Lassiter did a good job. I thought Tyke Smith did a good job there. And we never talk about Malachi Starks because he's never really in a bad position and he don't give up deep balls. You know what I mean? Just because you don't mention him doesn't mean he's not doing his job as well.
Yeah. On Georgia's offensive side of the ball, Ladd McConkey, 8 targets, 7 receptions, 95 yards, another huge performance for him. And Dominic Lovett gets a little bit of a shot.
How about that?
Mizzou, man.
How about that?
4
How about
receptions, 33 yards, a touchdown for him. Oscar Delp with a huge touchdown as well, man. Thought that the receivers did some really nice things, especially Ladd, though, man. What a huge piece he's been to bring back.
I mentioned at halftime that I felt like Georgia had an advantage on their linebackers, and you saw Oscar Delp take advantage of that in the second half a little bit. They were bringing their linebackers so much, but when they got them in pass coverage, I thought they did a really good job, and Oscar Delp burned them twice in the second half. So, one of those adjustments, Georgia had to grind it out on the passing, on the running game with Edwards today a little bit. But one thing that you look at is how Dominic Lovett. I watched the Missouri players, during the game, high-fived, and one time Burden caught a ball, and he and Burden just kind of shook hands and patted each other, on the helmet. So don't think there was really any, bad deal between Lovett and him, but he appreciated scoring against his former team.
Yeah, no question about that. Rusty, anything you saw maybe from that Jamon Dumas-Johnson injury or Kamari Lassiter? No, both of those guys.
Well, Kamari Lassiter came back in. So Kamari Lassiter came back in. Kirby may or may not have been coaching from the field and keeping him down. I'm not going to say that, but when your coach puts on a headset and nobody gets up until he nods his head, so he may have been trying to get the package together. Kamari Lassiter was out 2 plays, came back in, probably got his bell rung a little bit, got the breath knocked out of him. Jamon Dumas-Johnson, he was in a sling, so it's either most likely shoulder there. We'll see as what Kirby says here, but they inserted a true freshman, CJ Allen, 33, and we talk about it. And you saw Tate Ratledge and those guys on that podcast this week talk about going against 2 scout team linebackers, Raylan Wilson and CJ Allen, both kids, highly rated for a reason, but they're getting inserted right now. And 33. Listen, we may be going. You got a running back like Quinshon Junkins next week, maybe one of the top 3 or 4 running backs in the country. They're going to have to be physical with him. So if CJ Allen's in the middle next week, that's a big assignment.
Yeah, what can be taken away from this game in your eyes, Rusty? I mean, moving into next week, what can Georgia grow from here, and what do they do well that should translate well over to the Elbows?
You could say a lot about Georgia, but I say this a lot. This team knows how to win, man. You know what I mean? Like this is 42-1 now. Kirby's 90-15. The dude was 48-14 at one point. They just know how to win, and I don't think they ever really panicked today. Listen, Missouri's a good football team, and you start thinking about next week, Tennessee's going to play at Missouri. And that game is going to be a lot of implications as well down the line. So Missouri's a really good football team. They got a quarterback that I kept thinking, man, this guy would look good in a Falcons uniform because this guy's got an arm and he could run. But thinking down the line, I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be ashamed to have that dude in Atlanta. So, but you look at Missouri and how physical they are. One thing I can tell you, I was trying to think, this is the 4th time I've seen Missouri play in person. This is the best I've ever seen their roster. I mean, they look like a full-blown SEC team, and they played Georgia hard last year, and they played Georgia hard again today. But Georgia, again, Jake finds a way to win in the 4th quarter. And that's a tribute to these guys and how they train. They expect to make a play. And I don't think anybody in the galaxy, other than maybe Nazir Stackhouse's mom, predicted he was going to get an interception in the 4th quarter. But if somebody else makes a play, and that's what happened in Big Stack. And I know if anybody follows him on social media, he's going to be ready to roll tonight. His Instagram and TikTok, he will be full force tonight.
Yeah, no question about it. Missouri, I think, has done a great job of locking that state down, man. They're keeping their guys at home.
They're doing a good job. That state law, that NIL law that Missouri has, and it's just hard to recruit there. So you think about Jordan with Jaden Riddell. I was texting his mom last night, and she was like, look, I can't wait to watch Georgia. I can't wait to have my kid down there. He was going to come this weekend, but he wants to spend the next 4 weekends with his friends, and he understands that he's going to be in Georgia in mid-December, and he's ready to be a Bulldog. So Georgia went into that state and got an elite player. So that's kind of one of those things. But you look at that state law that Missouri has, and the deal with those kids, if they commit to that school, can start getting NIL. It's a big deal.
Absolutely. Last thing for you here, Rusty. A couple game balls. Anything that you got as far as game balls tonight? Who you handing out to, offense and defense?
I'd have to say Lab McConkey, and then you got to say Big Stackhouse. I mean, not many times Big Dude gets an interception and almost a pick six. I know he thought he was going to get there. You could see it in his eyes, and all of a sudden, a lot of momentum going to the ground there. But penalty backed them up. But you got to look at not Stackhouse and that play he made late.
Probably one also deserving for Peyton Woodring as well, man.
Peyton Woodring, hey man, listen,
that kid week after week setting a new career high, man. Just an incredible performance from him. Went from liability early in the season, and now that guy is just locked in as they come.
Big time. Well, let me get out of here before they run me out.
All right, guys. Appreciate you tuning in. Get over to DawgsHQ. Check us out. $1 for 1 month. You can always get that deal. We appreciate you tuning in tonight. Georgia with another win, 30-21 over the Missouri Tigers. Huge implications for the East. Dogs will be back against Ole Miss next week. We'll have you covered on everything over at DawgsHQ. Come check us out.